Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm James. This is my Maserati Ghibli SQ4, and this is the fourth video in the 7-part series, the 70,000 mile service on my Maserati Ghibli SQ4. So this week, I'm doing the coolant on my car. And next weekend, I was supposed to be doing the power steering fluid. But next weekend, I will be attending an event, Cars and Coffee, over at Nilo Maserati, Sacramento, Sunday from 9 to 11. And my car is being used, at least the front bumper is being used as a promotional picture for that event. So I have to be there, and so does my car. So let's get started on the coolant change. So you've noticed I've gotten started already. I used the floor jack to put the car on top of these ramps here. I jacked it up high enough for the front tires to clear the top, and then I set it down on top, which gives me room to get underneath here and remove this. You have to remove this. There are 12 T25 Torx screws, just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you've got 3 on each side buttons. One here, one here, one here that you have to remove. And then once those are all removed, this just pops down and you can put this to the side. The front bumper needs to come off as well on this because the screw to drain the radiator is directly behind the bumper here. You can't get to it from underneath. So let's get started removing the front bumper. Okay, in order to remove the front bumper, first thing we need to do is we need to take one at a time each front tire off so we can get to the screws in the back here. Remove the screws and this top screw here. I'll show those in the picture. I'll speed this up. These are the 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this bolt up here, which is a T25. Get out of the way. Now we put the tire back on. I bought this to help me hang the tire. Got it on eBay, not eBay, Amazon. It was really cheap. They make it a lot easier to hang the tire. Now on to the other side. Okay, 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the Torx up here. T25 Torque. You've got 5 additional Torx screws, T25, to undo underneath here. This one, this one, this one. You got 5 in 1. Back off a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down there. Okay. Front bumper has the parking sensors. This is the connector that you disconnect underneath here. It's just by the left-hand side as you're facing the front of the car intercooler tube. So you have to undo this connector here. Like so. What we have to do on the top first, we need to remove these buttons. There's 1, 2, 3, and 3 on the other side too. So we'll start here. Then you pull this cover off, just comes off like that. Okay, we've got 6 of these screw bolts here. They are T55s. So T55 here. And now we have to separate this. This is the front bumper, this is part of the fender. This will pop up like so. There, see how this pops up like that. These 2 holes, there's clips inside there that these 2 holes pop into. Be very careful with this. You don't want to break this part here. Have it underneath here. It pops up pretty easy. Okay, since we've undo this part is held on by that T25 Torx bolt. There's just a clip, same things up here, another one down here. And just pop it like that. You don't want to force this. you don't have to. Okay, the trick to getting the bumper off, this here was to have my wife hold the bumper up in front, and it just came right out really easy. It wasn't hard at all. As long as somebody was holding it up, it was just popped out. Then you need to make sure before you do this, I didn't, that you pull this from the frame. This part here, pull this from the frame so that the wire will come loose. And we got the bumper off. That wasn't so hard. This is what the car looks like without the front bumper. The next thing we need to remove is this under windscreen trim. They also call this the water tray. So there's going to be a screw here behind this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more screws over there. Okay? Those are all Phillips screws. But before we do that, we have to remove the windshield wipers. To remove this cap, we just pull the cap up. There are 2 of them. 2 caps. 18mm socket. There. There's just a meter of pulling up on it. There we go. Got it. Okay, I got the other wiper off. What I did is I stuck this underneath here and pried up that way. So it popped right up. So, got that off. Now to get the windscreen trim off, below windscreen trim. I didn't realize it before, but these screws are plastic. under windscreen trim is off. That over. I should better put that over here. Okay, I let the car down off the ramps. For when I drain the coolant, it'll be level. So I got the underscreen trim off. Okay, in front of the frame, there's a hole. It's only accessible once we take the bumper off. This is where we're going to undo the valve for the radiator and drain the fluid. The drain is right here. There's a hole in the frame just below this drain. But if I undo the valve, it's going to make a mess. It's going to splatter all around in there. So I'm going to use this. A little tiny funnel with an extension on it. You guys can find something familiar, similar, maybe a rubber hose, a clear rubber hose that'll fit around that. Will work for you. I found this. This will work for me. So we're going to stick this through the hole here. I may have to hold that or stick something in there to jam it. But anyhow, you guys got the idea. So that's going to keep it from making a mess so the radiator can drain. But we need to do something first. Next step is to pull the cap to the reservoir. There you go. And let's see how this works. Seems to be working fine. We'll let that drain. Now while that's draining, we need to loosen up these air valves here. The vents. There's one. There's one there in the thermostat. There's one on the radiator there. This one's underneath where the underscreen trim was. That's why we had to remove that. So I'll go ahead and loosen it. Okay, the radiator's finished draining. I've loosened up all the vents, all three vents. We can go ahead and close this up now. There's the old coolant. I don't know what color they put in. I've got this, which meets ASTM D3306 standards, which is what the Ghibli calls for. It's blue. This is orange. So what we need to do next is we need to empty this into some gallon containers to find out how much came out. So we know exactly how much should go back in. So we'll go ahead and do that off camera. Okay, after draining it, measuring how much came out, I measured 31 cups came out. I'm just going to use cups because that's what my graduated container here uses. Only cups and ounces, so I'll just use cups. So, what we do is we slowly, to fill it back up, after you've closed the drain valve up, it's got a funnel in there, you slowly fill it up and you watch the vents. That one, and that one over there in the radiator. You watch those and you slowly fill it up until fluid starts to come out of them. When fluid starts to come out of it, you close the vent, whichever one's coming out. Then you continue putting fluid in there. Since 31 cups came out, I'm going to make sure that 31 cups goes back in. And you may have to bleed the system using the vents in order to get the 31 cups, all 31 cups in there. So I'll do that off camera. Okay, after the third cycle of running the engine to 3,000 RPM, bleeding the system, I let it cool off a little bit and I checked the level and it was fine. I put the cap back on and I am now satisfied that the system is fully filled. Now we can start putting the car back together again. I'm going to start by putting the water tray back on. Make sure that this drain hose is down inside. There are 11 of these buttons here. Then you put this cover for the ECM back in. The right way anyhow. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use this, but I have it at its lowest torque setting because these are plastic. Okay, when you put the windshield wipers back on, you want to make sure you get the right one in the right place. The one with the short arm, long windshield wiper goes on the outside. The one with the long arm and the short windshield wiper goes on the inside one. Position them so that they don't park too low or too high. They'll interfere with each other. But you've got them positioned where you think where you think they'll be okay. You can test. And mine do not interfere with each other, and it looks good. So I tighten them down and I put the caps on. And that's how you install the windshield wipers. Okay, I put the car back on the ramps. And I was just thinking, you're probably curious why the ramp is backwards. The ramp is backwards because if I have it the other way around, then the jack can't get to the jack pad underneath the car because this is too long. So I just turned it around so I can get the jack to it. That's all. Next thing I'll do is put the intercooler duct back on. I only remove that to make it easy for you to see what's going on over here because the duct cover covers it. When you do yours, you won't have to remove it. Just pull it aside so you can see what's going on. I'm taking this opportunity while the front bumper's off to armor all the inside here behind the grill. I'm doing this for Cars and Coffee next weekend, and I want my car to look its best. Now we're going to put the front bumper on, especially if you have a helper. I've elicited the services of my young son here, Julius.
Can you not say the name?
Are you camera shy?
Yeah.
You're gonna be a celebrity.
No.
Let's get this underway.
You only have like 100 subscribers, don't you?
Okay, as you saw, while my son held the bumper here, I made sure that this is underneath, pushed it in, and I fit these first. Okay, you gotta make sure these are nice and flush. Then I did the same thing on the other side. Put that in, make sure this is nice and flush, and it looks good. Okay, now the next thing we do is we put the top bolts in. Next thing you can do is you can put this cover back on. There are 4 buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll just cover it now. Then you've got the 2 buttons for the bumper itself. Hold it down. Okay, next is to put the Torx bolts T25 on the bottom of the bumper. Always hand thread these in first because they're easy to strip. I just found something out. In the manual it says T25, but I accidentally grabbed the T27. The T27 fits better than the T25 on these Torx bits. So I'll just use the T27. Fits better. The connector for the parking sensor, the wire needs to go on next, but you need to connect this back into the frame. There. Then you connect the parking sensor connector. There. Done. Don't forget the parking sensor connector. Next is to put the bottom cover on. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jack the car up on this side, pull the wheel off, then install the 4 screws and the Torx nut here. Okay, the last step is to torque the lug bolt. And I've set my wrench to 85. I've heard people say 90, some people say 80, some people say 100. 85 is a good round number. The object is you don't want to over torque them. Well, I've got her QA'd and buttoned back up. On a scale of 1 to 5, spark plugs being a number 1, this was a number 3. When I step into these jobs, do DIY jobs on my Maserati, I don't step into them blind. I've done some research on what needs to be done, but there's always something that throws a wrench into the job. Like for example, this week, I didn't know that you had to remove the front bumper to get to the drain valve. While I was under there, I had the car jacked up and on the ramps. While I was under there, I was looking at it and I'm like, how am I going to get to that valve? I can't even get my fingers in there. So I contacted my friend who's a certified Maserati tech and I asked him about it and he said, oh, you need to remove the front bumper. Really? So we had to remove the front bumper just to get to that hole in order to loosen the valve. So you see, I really am a do-it-yourselfer, a backyard mechanic. And I'm learning doing these things as I go. I learn something new every day with this car. So next week I'm not going to be doing the power steering fluid change because I'm going to Dreams and Drivers Cars and Coffee event. And it's going to be held at Nilo Maserati, Sacramento, July 7, Sunday from 9 to 11 a.m. I will be there and so will my car. My daughter's all excited about it and she's going to. And I will be doing a video of that. Hopefully I wonder if they're going to have some Ferraris and some McLarens. And I know a guy that owns a Ferrari and a McLaren. But I don't know anybody that owns a Lamborghini, but they usually show up to the Cars and Coffee events. I'll have some video. The reason I'm so excited about going is because my car was used, or at least a picture of my car, was used to promote the event. That's a picture of my front grille. Drivers and Dreams, or Dreams and Drivers. I get them backwards all the time. So you see, my car has to be there. As well as that it's at a Maserati dealership. So I'm all excited about the event. So if you're in the Sacramento area, please stop by. Remember, July 7th, Nilo Maserati, Sacramento, Sunday, 9 to 11 a.m. Hope to see you there. And until my next video, and if you own a Maserati, be sure to get your thrills every day.